The film Jobs showed us that Steve Jobs wasn't just a tech innovator, but a leader who reshaped entire industries. His vision and ability to inspire change made Apple what it is today. In this presentation, we will explore Jobs through a personally and socially responsible leadership model and Cotter's change framework, showing how his leadership created lasting impact. Even working out of a small garage, Jobs had strong self-authorship, a clear internal compass that guided him despite doubt from others. His leadership centered on big picture vision, bold risks, and an obsession with quality. Those traits shaped Apple's early culture and laid the foundation for everything the company eventually became. Jobs' purpose was to make technology simple and accessible. His vision guided every decision that he made at Apple. Through the PSR model, we see strong purpose, direction, and commitment to serving society through meaningful technology. Examples like the 1984 advertisement shows how he challenged norms and inspired innovation driven by clear purpose. Cotter step one is creating urgency. This means building momentum so people feel change is needed now, and Jobs did this constantly. He emphasized that the future of technology was coming fast and pushed beyond to think beyond current limits, like when he drove the rapid development of the iPod.
Looking at Cotter's step two, which is building a coalition, we see Jobs with the early Apple leadership team. Here, he was able to surround himself with talents such as Steve Wozniak, Johnny Ive, and Tim Cook. Cotter's step three is develop vision and strategy. Here we see him presenting a product to an audience and being able to develop that vision. His vision was simplicity. His strategy was to be able to unite art with engineering, and he made a design a form of leadership through leading with clarity. Cotter step four is communicate the vision. So here, kind of like we talked about earlier with developing the vision, we see him presenting at a keynote. No one was able to communicate the way that he did. He didn't just tell, but he played a story. Storytelling was a huge part about how he built up his brand. And lastly, Cotter step five, which is empower action. In this picture, we can see an Apple design lab where employees are working. Jobs was able to give his team freedom within structure, and he challenged them to think differently. So here in this picture, we can see a bunch of different products that they're currently working on throughout, that they're able to work on with both creativity and flexibility.
Cotter step six is create short-term wins. The iPod became a powerful short-term win that helped rebuild Apple's reputation at a critical moment. It showed the world that Apple could still innovate in a big way. Internally, the early success reminded everyone what the company was capable of. Celebrating that momentum kept people motivated. Step seven is consolidate gains. Each success at Apple became fuel for the next. Jobs constantly pushed the company to evolve, never allowing it to plateau. That drive took Apple from the Mac to the iPod and eventually to the iPhone, each breakthrough building on the one before it. The continuous innovation kept Apple moving forward. Step 8 is anchor change in culture. Jobs embedded innovation into Apple's DNA. For him, change wasn't something to fear, but to embrace. He built a culture where curiosity, bold ideas, and pushing boundaries became the norm. Think different wasn't just a marketing slogan, it was a mindset that shaped how Apple approached every product, every challenge, and every breakthrough. Now on to Tim Cook. Tim Cook watched Steve Jobs drive these changes and noted that Jobs' greatest skill wasn't just vision, it was his willingness to change his mind. That kind of humility is rare in powerful leaders, and it became a defining part of his leadership style, showing how adaptive and emotionally intelligent leadership can guide a company through uncertainty.
We know that personally and socially responsible leadership means aligning with your values with how you treat people. Jobs had an incredible personal vision and drive, but the movie shows he sometimes overlooked empathy and connection when working with others. His passion drove innovation, but real leadership needs balance between vision and people. In the situation where we are leading up to Steve Jobs, we'd need to approach him with confidence and honesty, knowing when to push back respectfully while still supporting his vision. Leading across would mean bringing together cross-functional teams to work together on the same products. Apple only succeeded when people collaborated, not just when Jobs pushed them hard. Our team specifically brings together different strengths. Some of us focus on details, others on creativity or communication. And if we were working under Jobs, our mix would help balance his intensity, just like the original Apple I team did. We'd rely on each other to stay level-headed and turn his big ideas into something practical yet still innovative. Bowman and Deal's four frames help explain Apple. Jobs leaned heavily on structure and symbolism, clear standards and strong structure for innovation. But success also required human and political frames, meaning relationships, power, and teamwork. All had to support his big vision.
We can also analyze Apple's culture through Hofstede's cultural dimensions. There's a high power index and an individualistic and masculine culture that favors individual accomplishments and competition. There's a low uncertainty avoidance and long-term orientation reflecting Jobs' visionary nature, and an indulgence only in achievement but not in leisure. As a leader, Jobs has strengths such as his visionary nature and his high achievement, but his greatest weakness is his intensity, which tended to border on tyranny. As an autocratic leader, he alienated his team often in favor of achievement. So, as a leader, we need to figure out how to lead in a way that will address Jobs' needs. And the best way for us to do that is to use our strengths to establish a structure that will foster collaboration between Jobs and the rest of his company. We need to stabilize the company without sacrificing creativity. Jobs taught us that innovation requires not only a brilliant mind, but also compelling leadership. And our team can complement Jobs' vision through organizational leadership. By leading up and across, we can connect Jobs and his ideas to the rest of his company and create actionable change.